Did you know that the richest person in history wasn't European or American, but an African king? We're diving into the hidden history of African wealth, exploring ancient empires, colonial exploitation, and the modern struggle for economic independence. Forget the stereotypes. Africa's story is not one of inherent poverty, but one of immense wealth, strategically extracted and persistently rebuilt. What does wealth truly mean? It's more than just gold and money. In many African societies, wealth encompasses cattle, land, political power, and even social networks. Understanding this broader concept is key to unlocking Africa's economic past and future. Let's journey back in time, to the great empires of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai. These weren't just tribal societies, they were sophisticated economic powerhouses, controlling vast trade networks and accumulating incredible wealth. Ghana, flourishing from the 8th to the 11th century, became rich through its control of trans-Saharan trade routes, particularly in gold and salt. Its kings levied taxes on goods passing through their territory, amassing a fortune that astounded contemporary observers. Then came the Mali Empire, a civilization that reached its zenith under the rule of Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 wasn't just a religious journey, it was a display of wealth that captivated the world. He traveled with a massive entourage, laden with gold, which he generously distributed along the way, inadvertently causing inflation in Cairo. His reign cemented Mali's place on global maps and fueled European interest in West African gold. Further south, Great Zimbabwe stood as a testament to African ingenuity and economic prowess. From the 11th to the 15th centuries, this kingdom thrived on cattle wealth, gold mining, and regional trade. Its monumental stone structures, built without mortar, stand as a symbol of its power and sophistication. The Swahili city-states along the East African coast, like Kilwa, Mombasa, and Mogadishu, prospered through Indian Ocean trade. They exchanged gold, ivory, and slaves for goods from Arabia, Persia, and India, creating a vibrant cosmopolitan culture. These kingdoms demonstrate that Africa has always been central to global wealth circuits. But this wealth was not to last. The arrival of European colonial powers in the 19th and 20th centuries marked a turning point. Colonialism was, at its heart, an extractive enterprise. European powers restructured African economies to serve their own interests, focusing on cash crops, mineral extraction, and forced labor. Diamonds in South Africa and Botswana, gold in South Africa and Ghana, copper in Zambia and Congo, and rubber in Central Africa became the engines of colonial wealth, but the profits flowed to Europe, not Africa. This legacy of extraction continues to shape Africa's economic landscape today. But the story doesn't end there. Today, a new generation of African entrepreneurs and thinkers are working to build a more equitable and prosperous future. Books like Motupi Kopa's African Wealth Paradigm Shift are calling for a fundamental change in mindset, urging Africans to move from consumption to wealth creation through investment in property, stocks, franchises, manufacturing, and farming. Kopa advocates for reinventing the stokvel, a traditional rotating savings and credit association, as a tool for collective investment and economic empowerment. These modern stokvels, and similar systems across the continent like Chomos, Tontins, and Isusu, highlight the enduring power of indigenous financial systems. The book The Wealth and Poverty of African States by Deborah Brottingham and Stephen Knack grapples with the complex question of why some African states remain poor despite their resource wealth. This is the crux of the resource curse debate. How can countries rich in natural resources still struggle with poverty and inequality? The book points to issues of governance, corruption, and the legacy of colonial extraction as key factors. The Fortunes of Africa, a 5,000-year history of wealth, greed, and endeavor by Martin Meredith provides a sweeping historical overview of African economic history, tracing the continent's trajectory from ancient times to the present day. It examines the interplay of wealth, power, and exploitation, offering a nuanced perspective on Africa's complex economic development. Rhiannon Stevens' Poverty and Wealth in East Africa, a conceptual history offers a different lens, exploring how concepts of wealth and poverty have been understood in eastern Uganda over the past 2,000 years. This book reminds us that wealth is not just a material concept, but also a social and cultural one. The book, A Guide to Building Generational Wealth, Lessons from East African Families for a Global Future, focuses on family wealth, legacy, and intergenerational transfer. These lessons resonate with a diaspora looking to build a lasting legacy rooted in African values. These books challenge the dominant narrative of Africa as a continent of poverty and highlight the continent's rich history of wealth creation and economic innovation. This is especially important considering Africa's youth population. With limited formal job creation and rising urban costs, wealth-building literature is hugely relevant. They offer insights into how Africans can harness their resources, traditions, and entrepreneurial spirit to build a more prosperous future. So, the next time you hear about Africa, remember that it's not just a continent of challenges, but also a continent of immense potential, ingenuity, and a hidden history of wealth waiting to be rediscovered. The story of African wealth is still being written.